Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Football Commentaries podcast. We're back for another episode. We restarted the podcast again with episode 11 last week. If you haven't checked it out, you can do so. A lot of the information we spoke about is still relevant now. So, go and give that a listen if you'd like. But I'm going to try and get these back weekly, like I said last week, and we're on back-to-back already, so it's a good start. We are here again with Harvey, if you want to say hello.
Hello.
And
Hello.
yeah, it's just going to be the usual chat, obviously a different topic this time. Hopefully at the start of the Premier League season, which is actually 6 weeks away. So come to that time, we're going to leave the podcast and move on to... And I did a video actually a few weeks ago of the Champions League draw, my reaction to it. And I wanted to do a show called Football Talk. I did it years ago at the start of my YouTube channel. And I enjoyed it. And I feel like it'll be more versatile than the podcast. If there is any serious chats we just need to have, then I'll do a podcast. But more than likely, the podcast will just stop and there'll just be Football Talk episodes. They're going to be very similar to the podcast. Some will be podcast styled, and some might be a quiz, a debate, a best 11 of something, different kind of stuff. So that's going to be the only change. Hopefully there'll be a new thumbnail or fancy, and hopefully attract more viewers. That would help. So we're going to change into that in about 6 weeks time. So still 6 more episodes of this, or 5 after this one. So there's still a lot more left. Today we're going to be speaking about the FA Cup final, which was, for us now recording, was yesterday, because we're doing this on the Sunday. Arsenal obviously victorious. Or should I say Arsenal and the referee were victorious on the Saturday. Talk about Bournemouth a little bit. Eddie Howe obviously left mutual consent as well. Was it? I think that was on Saturday as well, wasn't it? Yeah, it was late Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it, if anything else pops into my head during that. But yeah, commentaries are also back this week, finally. We've got 2, one on Friday, which is City v Real Madrid. Make sure you check that out. It should be a good one. Should be hopefully some twists and turns in that, because Real Madrid are very confident, just won La Liga. They just seem, and they're a good team anyway, but they haven't got Ramos. So that will be an interesting part. And then on the Saturday, instead of doing Bayern Munich v Chelsea, because I feel like Bayern Munich should stroll that one with their 3-way goal advantage, we're going to do Napoli v Barcelona instead. So hopefully we can get a bit of an upset on that Saturday. They're both at 8 o'clock kickoff, or I think it's 8 o'clock kickoff, so the stream will start about 10 to 8. So just make sure you're there and support the streams, because I've realised when I don't do commentaries a week, I lose a few subscribers, which I found a bit strange. But, commentaries are back anyway this week, so hopefully we can gain a few as well. But without further ado, let's just get into the discussion. FA Cup winners Arsenal. Just a question off the bat straight away. When we saw the semi-final draws, did you think Arsenal would end up the victors out of the last 4 remaining?
No chance. No.
Oh yeah, it was. I'm not gonna lie. I saw them get City, and I felt like arrogantly. I say arrogantly. I was like, yeah, they're not gonna win. They won't even get past City, and even if they do, they've still got to play United or Chelsea. But from watching the final yesterday, do you think, taking everything into consideration, the referee decisions, all the on-field decisions that were made, do you think Arsenal were worthy winners of the FA Cup?
I think to an extent. I think if, for example, the red cards, the injuries, if they didn't happen, then I think could have gone Chelsea's way. But yeah, things went Arsenal's way and they won it, so they don't really care.
Yeah, of course they won't care. They're Arsenal fans, but but I mean, it's just I felt like the first 10 minutes Chelsea were on it like
Yeah.
big time. Like
Yeah.
I was watching it with my dad. Somehow my dad gets a mention in every podcast. I was watching it with him, and he went, and I agreed with it at the time, and to a certain degree. I went, God, Arsenal could get a good batter in here if they don't
Yeah.
wake up. And to be fair, they kind of rode that early storm. Did concede, but they got out of it, not as harmed as what they could have, because it could have been two with the way they were defending. Like Rob Holding just looked really slow, and I thought they could have, especially with Pulisic. I thought if they keep exploiting Holding down that right hand side of Arsenal's with Bellerin, I thought they could get a few goals there, Chelsea. But to be fair to Arsenal, they got out of that, and from like the 20th minute onwards, I thought they were just on it straight away. I know they had that disallowed goal for Pepe, because that was an immense finish. That was actually a beauty.
Yeah.
But I think, for me anyway, I don't know about you, but Pulisic gets injured and the game changes for me, because obviously they've got Werner coming in, Ziyech, possibility of Havertz, but currently now in this Chelsea squad that they've got for this season, Pulisic is their best player, and for me, the only player who actually looks like creating something.
Yeah.
So when you lose a player like Pulisic, I think it was still 1-1, wasn't it, at the time? They were still drawing, but I saw that happen, and I thought, you know what, this could be Arsenal's night. Obviously the red card happened, Kovacic. To be fair, both of the fouls that were given yellows, you could argue both sides that both challenges weren't even yellows on their own.
Yeah.
Do you think, it's an obvious answer, but do you think the refs had a little bit of a shocker in that decision?
100%. Yeah, and the fact that the VAR even allowed it, it was.
Yeah, because they've got stupid laws, right? I was supporting Lampard when he said this. Why do they have a rule of, VAR, as VAR, we don't get involved in yellow card decisions?
In yellow cards, yeah.
That yellow cards, they've both equaled a red. So how can they not have a say on that? A player's been sent off through 2 yellows, not just a yellow. The red card's been shown. How they've not been able to step in and go, look, what was it, Anthony Taylor, the ref?
Yeah.
Well, right, look, mate, you might want to retract, resend that. You got that wrong. Then no one has a problem. Who would have a problem if they went to the ref? They said, look, mate, you've got that wrong. Take away the red card. No one would be arguing it. No Arsenal fan would argue it. Obviously, no Chelsea fan would argue it. So I don't get why that's even a rule in the first place. Because they say they don't get involved in yellows, but it was 2 yellows, then a red. So a player's been dismissed through it. I thought that was so stupid. And that did kill the game. 100%. As soon as he got sent off, 2-1 down. How long was it to go? Let's have a look. When did he get sent off? 73rd minute. They've got like 20 minutes to go. I know obviously the game ended up going into like the 100th minute because of an injury. I was just like, you've just killed the game. And then you've got the handball decision as well with Emi Martinez, the Arsenal keeper, catching it outside of his box. What happened there is beyond me. His body was so far out of the box, right? It was not physically possible for him to catch it in the box and not have any part of that ball outside. It's just not possible if you look at it back.
Yeah.
The fact that he's just waved that away and not seen it, I couldn't believe that. I was like, it's like, because I remember saying this as well. I said this to my dad. I went, this ref, he's a nice guy, because he did a video on Sky, on YouTube, about reviewing one of his mistakes he made a couple of years ago. What a surprise, reviewing mistakes. And I went, he seems like a great guy, but he's a rubbish ref.
Yeah.
I went, I just don't rate him. Then what do you know? He probably has one of the worst ever refereeing FA Cup final performances. And I think that just sums up English refereeing. It's just, it's just not great. But let's just try and move away from the referee ranting for a second, try and get back on the game. Obviously, Arteta's come in and won the FA Cup with Arsenal 8 months into his job. Do you think this is just the beginning for Arsenal and Arteta? Do you think they can go on and maybe win or do better in like the league and Europe, or do you think Arsenal fans might just need to calm down a little bit and just not get too ahead of themselves?
to be honest, I think if you're an Arsenal fan, I think Arsenal they obviously can go further back in the league, but I think it will be very hard for them to go backwards in the league to where they've gone this season. I think they could do well in Europa League next year. If it comes down to transfers really,
100%.
if they're able to keep Aubameyang, and if Arteta will be back like he says he will be.
Because that's a big statement from Arteta.
Yeah.
Saying they've backed me, you need to back the board. Because if they don't now, that's a whole can of worms he's opened of questions. So obviously, like every right fan will say, they'll go, well, you promised us this, but you're not. We weren't delivered it. It's like they kind of got that last year with the signing of Pepe. Kind of. I don't think he seems to be growing, because I feel like as Premier League fans we're way too quick to judge signings.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I always use this as an example. Sane was horrific in his first year at the Premier League. I was like, why have we got this guy? Like, he just wasn't doing it for the first, I think, till about February, where he started pulling the string. Bernardo Silva, he struggled to fit in as well the first year. I know he won the league, got the 100 points, but I mean, in terms of getting in the team and working out the Premier League, it takes players time. So I don't really judge players who just joined. But now Arteta's come out and said that, and the fact as well, he'll go in, because obviously they'll have a meeting, and he'll go into that meeting and go, look, I've got us Europa League, I've got us the FA Cup, I've got us playing a good style of football, the fans are on our side again, you've got to back me. And the owners now have got to go, oh, right, we actually need to, get some money out. Because these days, 100 million, in terms of Arsenal Football Club, because they're a big club, let's not get that twisted, they're a massive club. You need at least 200 million to be able to bring in good enough players for the level Arsenal need to be at.
Yeah.
So, if they do get the back in, and Arteta does, I think Arsenal, in a long-term project, so 5 years' time, I think they could really, go somewhere with Arteta. Because, let's be honest, Pep Guardiola leaves Manchester City. Who will City want as their next manager, more than likely? They'll be going after Arteta. They'll be like, we'll give you all the money you want. We'll give you the wages. So Arsenal have got to be careful now of Arteta. They've got to back him, because even with the liabilities in the Arsenal team now, the fact that he's took them and got them to an FA Cup final and to win it, I think now he's just going to be there. He's got the high ground pretty much now, Arteta. He's like, well, look, you've got to give us the money. So I think the fact that they won the FA Cup is a massive achievement. The fact that they got Europa League through as well is another massive achievement. So now it's all down to the owners really, and what they bring to the table, because it's clear what they need. It's not rocket science. They need pretty much if he sticks with his three at the back, if he's going to use Tierney as a centre back, then they need two new centre backs.
Yeah.
Realistically, they need a new right wing back in the future at some point.
Yeah.
They need, it depending on how they're going to use Saka. If they use him at a left wing back, then that'll be all right. That's sorted, that position. They'll need a couple new centre midfielders, possibly to replace Xhaka, because he has been good. Don't get me wrong.
And Guendouzi.
Guendouzi. Well, he's off, isn't he? Apparently, I think he was completely abandoned from the squad. So I feel like they need a new centre mid. The front three seems okay. Lacazette's really starting to adapt to what Arteta wants him to do, and that isn't scoring goals, which I think is going to take a lot of pressure away from Lacazette, which I think he needs. Because I remember talking about him in a podcast episode, and we pretty much called him overrated because his goal scoring, just his consistency wasn't there. I feel like now, if people go, he's not scoring enough, then you can just turn around and go, well, that's not his role. His role is to hold it up and send away Pepe and Aubameyang, who obviously, hopefully, they'll be big parts of their future for Arsenal as well. Let's just not only talk about Arsenal, let's talk about Chelsea. Do you think, take away everything that happened, like the red card, the injuries to Aspilicueta and Pulisic, do you think they played good enough in that final to win it anyway, even with the stuff that went against them?
I think to an extent. I think like the first 15 minutes they were on top and they looked like they could go on and win the FA Cup, but I think when they were just giving the ball away cheaply and silly in the middle, the tides were changing and the momentum was completely changing. It just went against Chelsea, so I think it would have been hard for them to get back. But yeah, it was one of them days for Chelsea. It wasn't their day today.
Yeah, that's exactly how I'd label it. Just wasn't their day. A different day, it could have gone differently. Like, you can always say that, like that, you know. But just the players to get injured, the player to get sent off, everything that happened, you just, as a Chelsea fan, you must be sat there like, it's like we just didn't have a chance anyway. With the things that happened, it's just like they had no, chance of even winning it anyway, because your captain gets sent off, so there's leadership at the back gone straight away. Because that was their back foot. What, Alonso, Rudiger, Christensen, Zuma, and James. There's no leadership in that.
Yeah.
At all. So that's a big hit. Kovacic gets sent off, which is their best central midfielder. I think he's really. I rate him a lot, Kovacic.
Yeah.
So that's a massive. And he didn't even deserve to get sent off. So that's a second. And then Pulisic, your best player, attackingly, gets substituted off. Not no fault of his own, because of a hamstring injury. So you must be there as a Chelsea fan going, well, how can, we can't do anything about the loss. It just wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they just weren't good enough, If they were so good, then they should have been able to turn it around. But, and that's very harsh to say. I'm just trying to kind of balance it a little bit. But yeah, Chelsea were just very, very unfortunate with the events that happened on Saturday. Next year, I said this after the game. I said, look, they don't need to worry about this FA Cup. Like, they've got Champions League, they've got top players coming in. This not winning this FA Cup shouldn't bring them down. Obviously, every fan wants to win it, especially when you get to the final, but that should be the least of their worries now in terms of what they want to be winning in the future. Like, something like that. Their attack next year, it's going to be unbelievable. Yeah. So losing a little FA, that's disrespecting the FA Cup, I won't say that. But losing an FA Cup final over two big injuries, an undeserved red card, and a goalkeeper who handled the outside of his box and somehow didn't get, done for it. I think Chelsea fans should kind of look at the game in a bigger perspective and go, look, straight from the get-go, it just wasn't meant to be. So, obviously frustrating for Chelsea, but not taking anything away from Arsenal. They won. I was going to say fair and square, but not really. But, they still had to take their chances anyway to win the game. So that's fair enough for Arsenal. Obviously, they're 14th as well, which I think's which is a mental great record to have in the FA Cup. For me, it was just the fact that the four teams who were left, I would have just put everything I own on that Arsenal would not have even got past City, never mind into the final.
Yeah.
So I think they do deserve great plaudits and Arteta too, because how he's got that team playing and working like they have in the last few weeks is a real testament to his coaching ability. And obviously he's learnt a lot off Pep, and I think he thanked him after the game, which I thought was respectful, because he actually beat him on the way there. Imagine that. When you go Pep, like, I pretty much taught you everything and you've gone and beat me with what I've taught you. Oh, it must be absolutely devastating. But no, deserved, I'd say, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before we started, and we have to talk about it because it just topped off the FA Cup final. Although Aubameyang scored 2 goals and a great performance, you could maybe say his performance with lifting the trophy was his real struggle for the day. I didn't even ask. When you were watching it, what were you like saying to the telly? Because I know what I was saying.
First of all, he took the trophy off the stand, and then
he's done it right.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
Yeah, and then he drops it, and then at that point you should realise, oh, it doesn't go on the stand, and then he's holding the stand underneath it.
Yeah, the wrong way round.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the wrong one.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, you just single-handedly, pretty much, won your team the FA Cup. I was just, there's people around him. Why didn't no one say, you're not meant to take the bottom part?
Yeah.
Leave it. And then he takes it with him. He drops it. Puts it back on the stand. Oh my god! I just thinking about it winds me up.
Yeah.
It's like he must have seen trophy lifts before. You don't take the bottom part of what you win.
Yeah.
I was just there to hold it. But anyway, that's Aubameyang in Arsenal. I don't know. What's the thing? Just before we move on, because I don't want to go on a rant about this, because it's only an FA Cup trophy lift. But he drops it, picks it up, right? And when he's holding it, when he's lifting it, he surely must be thinking, this isn't right. Why am I holding this huge, heavy, I'm presuming it was heavy, bottom part of this trophy? And then, oh, God. I don't even know. I'm just going over myself now. It just annoyed me. It's just,
Well done to Aubameyang.
Yeah, exactly. I was just there, guy. He was making me crease.
Mm.
He was actually making me like. I just go, what is he doing? But, look, I can see a picture of him now.
Mm.
One hand on the
On the bottom.
on the bottom of the where you like the holder for the trophy, and then the other hand lifting it. Oh my days.
Yeah.
Whatever. Right, let's move on. Let's move on quickly from that. The other topic that we're going to talk about is the fact that Eddie Howe has left Bournemouth, announced yesterday. 8 years at the club, 25 years I think is like a player and a manager, 42 years old as well. So that's a lot of his, life at Bournemouth. When you saw this, initial reactions, did you expect it? What were you thinking when you saw it come through?
See, I think obviously Bournemouth being relegated, I looked at it and I thought, I can see why they've got rid of him, because they've obviously been relegated.
Well, to be fair, it was mutual, wasn't it? It was mutual.
Yeah,
so they parted together.
It's like, I'm thinking, why? Like, you've got to realise what he has done to that club. I don't see why he has thought, oh, you know what? Like, he had it in him. I think he has it. He had it in him to take Bournemouth back. I think considering he took him from second from bottom of League Two, to even the Championship.
Yeah, and to be fair, they did become at one point an established Premier League team. Like they stayed in the Prem for a good 4 years.
5 years, yeah.
4 or 5, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it might have been 5. For me, I think it was just a fire that had just ran out.
Yeah.
I think it was time for him to move on. 8 years managing a club. I think this is. I don't think they wanted him to go, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it was him going, look, I've done everything I can. I cannot take this club anymore. Move it forward. Which I don't think he can. I think he just reached that point where he just couldn't take the club any further.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. But then it leaves the question marks of Eddie Howe's left. Who's going to be next? They've already lost Fraser. Looks like Josh King's on his way to Everton, I've heard. Even if it's not Everton, he'll probably be moving on anyway. Callum Wilson will probably want to leave because he's still, got links with the England squad. David Brooks has been linked to about every single Premier League club for Bournemouth. Ake has already got an accepted offer from City, apparently. You've got Ramsdale, who's a good English keeper. He might want to move if he feels like that's the best way to maybe get a senior England call up, especially with Jordan Pickford and his performances.
Oh.
He's got a good way. Good spot there for him if he wants it. So for me, I feel like this is the decline of Bournemouth. I'm hoping it doesn't do like a Huddersfield, where they just drop right to the bottom of the Championship, like near the bottom, and then they probably won't come back to the Premier League anytime soon. I just think he just reached the maximum like powers he had it, but he just couldn't do any more. So I think a fresh start for Bournemouth is, I think, what they need. You know, when you're consistently staying up in the Premier League, and then all of a sudden you have a bad season, and then you go down. I think as well for mentally, I think as well for Eddie Howe, it must be draining what he's had to do with that club.
Yeah.
You know, all the stuff, taking them from League Two all the way to Premier League and staying in the Premier League, and then this season especially, not being able to keep them up, and just he must have felt like I can't do anymore. So when I read it, I wasn't surprised. I was expecting it, but Bournemouth fans will just feel this could just send us down a hole where we might not be able to get out for a while, which is the Championship.
Yeah.
And I don't follow the Championship. Like, I follow the results, but I've never experienced being a fan in the Championship. But from the outside, it is a tough league to get out of. 46 games. Every game is always going to be hard. You don't know what you're going to get with the Championship. So I just hope, because I don't mind Bournemouth. I don't think they're a Premier League club in terms of the status, the stadium capacity and that kind of aspects. But I mean, in terms of how well they were doing in the Premier League for a while, I don't want them to get stuck like Huddersfield, where they just sink down back to the Championship and they have to wait for however long to get back up to the Premier League. In terms of who they're going to lose, Bournemouth, and obviously they haven't lost any players yet, but what player do you think they have to try and not try and keep hold of? Which players do you think they'll miss the most out of the ones that are linked to leave? Because there is a few.
Yeah. The most probably Josh King, I reckon. Or Callum Wilson. One of them two. I think they'll struggle if they can't bring in someone or even keep someone like Solanke up top as a main striker. I think if both of them go, or even one of them, they're going to struggle to find goals to try and win them games. But then I think if they lose Ake, their defence could be in the bin.
It's thing is with Bournemouth, what I've just got in my head there, it's like they're guaranteed to lose a main striker. They're guaranteed to lose a main winger in Brooks. He'll definitely go. They're more than likely to lose maybe a centre midfielder. That's like maybe an if. And then they're definitely going to be losing a centre back in Ake. So that's a spine gone straight away. And just from and the fact that we're saying that we feel like the Eddie Howe era did come to its climax. That also means, like we've said, players are going to be leaving. Loads of players, because they've been there for a while. So I feel like Bournemouth and fans, I think, especially their board, need to start building, like Arsenal in a way, a lengthy project that might take 5 years, but when it comes to the point where they've got this plan and they can get to the level where they're back in the Prem, say if that is in 5 years, but they're a stable, bigger club, I feel like that's the way they've got to go forward. Give the fans hope. Go, look, we've got this plan. It's going to take a while. We'll need your patience, but if this plan is followed and it goes right, then they could be back in the Prem, which I think that's the technique and the style they've got to go for. Not let's splash the cash. I know they've lost a lot of money, and I don't think they've paid a lot of the transfers off, I've read. But they can't do everything in their power to go straight back up. I think they've got to just maybe try and get playoffs, maybe, and just gradually build their way back up as a club that will be able to sustain themselves in the Premier League. So, although it's sad to see him go down and Eddie Howe to leave, I think this is the start of a new, fresh beginning for Bournemouth. And hopefully the fresh beginning is a good one, because, you can get bad ones where you are just stuck for years and years and years, season on season on season. So, if they can rebuild in the correct way to deal with the Championship, and not just have, we need to get in the Prem, we need to get in the Prem in their heads, I feel like they'll be okay in the end, Bournemouth. But it'd be interesting to see who takes over as well. If they'll go for another English manager, maybe go for a foreign manager. So it's gonna be interesting for sure how they deal with this territory of the Championship again, because you've got to remember they weren't really in the Championship for too long. I don't think when they were promoted. They're not like a team that's been in there for like 50 years, and then they've got into the Premier League. Like we said, what was it when he got in the League Two? So that would have been 10 years ago, 12, something along those lines. So if they can just get the right players in to deal with the Championship and not just have their heads directed on getting back in the Premier League straight away, I think they'll be okay. Personally, look, 450 games across 2 spells, spanning more than a decade. I think the thing is with this, they were finishing the season really well.
Yeah,
like they were, and it's just unfortunate. It's like, here, look, where is it? I think 2015 they got into the Premier League. I think it was.
Was it?
No. Oh wait, no, 2016. Oh no, yeah, no, 2016. So let's get that right. And then looking like this club on the rise. And then to be fair, in the Premier League they weren't getting bad finishes where they were just surviving. It's like, here, let's have a look. What is it? 12th, 14th. Not bad finishes. It's not like they were like 17th, just avoiding the relegation. But obviously, as you can see from those positions, obviously 12th, 14th. Now, what was it? When was it? 18th they finished.
19th. I think, or it might have been 18th.
Let's have a look quickly.
I think it was 19th because Watford.
I'm gonna go 18th then. Yeah, it was 18th. It was 18th on goal difference. So you can obviously see a decline there straight away. So it's sad to see. But I think Eddie Howe, give him a break in football. I think he'll come back and take over another Premier League team. So I don't think he's really got to worry, to be honest, about finding a club. I think that's what made it easier for him. I think personally, I think the fact in his head he knew.
Yeah.
If I leave here, Bournemouth, I won't be struggling for a job, which is fair enough. So, yeah. Unfortunate for Bournemouth, I'm sure they'll bounce back. But yeah, they're the 2 main topics I want to speak about. We'll kind of just go through like the transfer gossip now. Just got it on the BBC here. Can I actually switch scenes? Should we try this? Hold on. Right, here we go. Right, you should see what I'm seeing now. Hopefully, this is a risky move from me. But we're on the BBC gossip page. Yeah, what does it say here? So he says Arsenal will offer Aubameyang 250 grand a week on a 3-year deal. Do you think he'll sign it, or do you think he will leave?
I think he could. Yeah, I could probably see him signing it.
Do you think the FA Cup had a say if he was going to sign it or not? Or do you think even if they'd lost it, do you think he still probably would have signed anyway?
I think the FA Cup had a say in it. I think, especially Arteta, I think the way they've set out for the semi-final and the final shown what Arteta can bring over the next few seasons, and it's been an eye-opener to Aubameyang.
Yeah.
New manager, look what Arteta can do. But it's as of 350 grand a week.
God, that must hurt the owners so much.
Yeah.
Like I know they haven't given much back to their club, so I don't think the fans care that they're getting rinsed by Ozil. But God, he's not even played in the lockdown or anything. 350 grand a week. He does say though, Harvey Aubameyang wants to see Arsenal make big signings before he agrees a new deal after firing the club to their 14th FA Cup, which is fair enough. he needs to see ambition from the club if he wants to stay, because he is coming to the peak of his career. And at 31, he's going to be in the next few years. He's going to be slowly declining. His pace and which obviously happens to every player. So I think as well. I think this situation of Aubameyang needing the contract. I know in recent years it's actually not helped Arsenal.
Yeah.
Having to leaving players on contracts, because obviously Ramsey, Van Persie. Not Van Persie.
Sanchez.
No, it was. Yeah, Sanchez.
Yeah,
So
Van Persie.
I think Van Persie's contract was. I think someone happened with that as well at one point. I remember hearing. So, but I feel like this is actually going to help them. The fact that they've got to deliver for Aubameyang, and the fact that they have to keep him, and if they have to keep him, they have to make big signings. That's just a win-win for the fans, because that means they have to sign up Aubameyang, and they have to be signing the big players to go along with that. So I feel like this is actually going to be a positive for the fans. If he does sign, because obviously they have to then sign players, but it could go the complete opposite, and he doesn't sign, and they don't bring any big players in, and they're kind of back to square one. But I don't think that'll happen. I am personally. As you can see as well below this, we've got Tottenham manager Jose Mourinho. I read this today. I thought this was a bit weird. Has been offered the chance to sign Watford's English striker Troy Deeney. Obviously, he was relegated as well as backup to Harry Kane. Do you think this will happen? Do you think there's any,
No. I can't say.
I don't even know what to. Just any, fact like realism towards it, or do you think this is maybe just be a bit of a made up thing?
They've got Moura, like Lucas Moura, maybe his backup if Kane does get injured. I don't think they need Deeney. I think if they do need a backup striker, they can get better than Deeney.
It's just a bit of a different option, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'll be surprised if that happens, but if it does, it's a different option. He's not bad. Is he Tottenham's level? Probably not.
No.
But if they're getting him for a decent price and the wage isn't that bad, it can, there's not much hurt in it, because with Troy Deeney you're going to get 110% from him.
Oh yeah.
So 100%. That'll be interesting if that happens. I'll be interested. Here's another one. I read this morning and I thought I can't see this happening. Aston Villa are targeting a summer move for Liverpool's 25-year-old Belgian striker Divock Origi.
No way that's happening.
I was just thinking this morning. I was like, he scored 2 against Barcelona. He sealed the Champions League win for them. He scored many big goals. He's a good player. I was thinking nearly relegated Aston Villa. I think they can get him. It's like minimum. He's a mid-table player.
Yeah.
Minimum. So I was saw that and I thought they're aiming high, which is fair enough. And if they can get him, that'll be a massive signing as well. Because if they can get him scoring goals. So I've just again a strange one. We'll do one more. We'll say one more. And I'm going to skip a few. I'm going to go to this one. I'm trying to highlight it. There it is. United are hoping to use defender Chris Smalling as part of a swap deal for Inter Milan's 25-year-old Slovakian defender Milan Skriniar. But Roma continue to work on a deal for the Englishman after being pressed on loan in the Italian capital. Do you think that would be a good use? What would you rather United do? Get money for Smalling, probably more money for Smalling if they sold him to Roma, or use him as part of a swap deal for that Skriniar? Which one would you prefer?
I'd use him as a swap deal, because if we put him into a swap deal, we know we're getting a player that will boost our squad massively. We're improving in the position that we've lacked.
Yeah.
And I think overall it's a big and better improvement. The only thing that's positive with getting money is that it probably goes towards maybe Sancho if that deal does happen.
If you need the extra funds for it, you can get it through Smalling.
But,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think we particularly need the funds for Sancho from Smalling. I think if we were to put him into a swap deal, that'd be better.
I think it'd be more beneficial.
Yeah.
Put him in swap deal, so you're losing a centre back, but you're going to get a much better one in return.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and Small. He seemed like he well, for him, it's going to be a win-win anyway. He's getting away from Manchester United, which obviously his career's got done there, and he no matter what, he's out of the two teams that are in for him. They're both Italian, and it seemed like he did adapt well to the Italian league, and obviously he must have because Roma want him back again. So I think it's a win-win for both clubs. And no matter what happens, you got if you're selling for just cash, you've got the money there for Sancho.
Yeah.
If that falls through or anything happens with that, you've got a different option of using it as a swap deal for Skriniar, who to be honest I've not seen play. I think I saw him once.
Yeah.
See him play for Inter Milan, so I can't comment on how good he is, but I've heard good things about him anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a positive signing for Manchester United. And I think the fact that you've loaned him and he's done well helps massively with his value. You could probably scrape a bit more money off because you can go, oh, well, he's had a good season for you, so you got to pay this amount. So I think overall, this loan move for Smalling and United has been a success.
Paid off, yeah.
I thought he was still usable at United, but I think it was part of Solskjaer's kind of moving on phase. And thankfully for him, obviously it's worked, and you've got Champions League and everyone's happy. So it was a risky one from Solskjaer because I thought Smalling probably could have still been used for you. But, you've done fine without him. You've somehow scraped Champions League after only being top 4 for 22 days. But other than me trying to not take the mick out United and scraping Champions League, we'll end the episode here. Good solid another 40-minute episode. I don't want it to be an hour because sometimes they can be a bit too long. And I like doing the hour ones. My favourite one we've done was an hour and 20. That greatest ever Premier League 11. Because we had a massive debate. Not even a debate. We couldn't choose. Like none of us could just. Neither of us could choose. I think it was a striker or something.
For like a strike front three.
Yeah, we were like we'll go 4-3-3, and then I was like, why don't we just go 4-4-2? And then But all previous podcast episodes are in a playlist in the description. Make sure you check all of them out. If you'd like, if you want something to just listen to while you're doing, I don't know, you're gaming or you're working, they're good listens to. And as well, because you don't need to actually watch the video. That's what I like about podcasts. Obviously, this is a YouTube video and you can see me, with Wembley around me. But you don't have to watch me. You can literally put it to a side and then do something else, which helps. But, like I said, football talk, that will be coming. In around 6 weeks' time, there'll be loads of stuff we're going to be doing. I think the last episode for this podcast will be our predictions for the Premier League. So that'll be very interesting because obviously in a year's time we'll look back at it and we'll review. But that should be exciting because the content can be varied a lot in that series. We can literally do podcast style episode. We could do test our knowledge on something. I can just do videos on my own, talking about a certain topic. I can get guests on whenever. It's a lot more flexible to do my football talk series that I want to do because podcasts are very one-dimensional. And don't get me wrong, I love podcasts. I look forward to doing them every time because it's a good chat. But the fact that I can do podcasts and other things and probably upload it more often than I would do a podcast, I think it's only a win-win, really. So look forward to that. We've still got loads of podcasts left, though. And like I said, football talk episodes, a lot of them will be podcasts, kind of episodes, where they're like 40 minutes long, an hour long. So it's not like the podcasts are completely going, because a lot of them will be podcast-style episodes. So, versatile, that's basically what I'm saying. You're not losing podcasts. They're still going to be there. Probably more often, really. So, because if there's a lot of big, big things happening in the world of football, you can jump on quickly, talk about it, get it loaded. So before I go on for too long and try and sell out another series, Football Manager podcast in the description. Make sure, because it's getting loaded on Wednesday, Friday and Saturday, 2 Champions League commentaries. Please check them out. Even if you just check them out and like the video, it helps to get out to the people who might want to try and find a commentary they need. So it just helps, really. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
thanks, Harvey, for coming on once again.
Absolutely enjoyable.
I think you've been on every single one, nearly. So massive
Let's
help.
keep it going.
Let's try. Let's try. But it's the end of the episode. Like and subscribe, and hopefully I should see you back for the 2 commentaries on Friday and Saturday. Double upload on Friday, because episode 21 of the Rise and Stockport Carter will be on as well, so you're getting treated this week. Treated. 4 videos in 1 week. It's unheard of. No, 5. Jeez. 2 Football Manager, a podcast, and 2 commentaries. Wow, you're getting treated. So more of a reason to subscribe. But yeah, please do that, and hopefully I'll see you for another video very soon.